Hi and welcome to Dave's Classic Collectibles. Today we're going to have a look at our fourth instalment of the Australian Cars the Collection. Today we'll be looking at issues 13 to 16, which has one of my most favourite cars, the Holden HTT VK SS Group A in Formula Blue. So let's go out into the workshop and have a look at these four models and see how they are compared to the previous ones. As always, let's start with a quick overview of what you actually receive with the Australian Cars the Collection. You get your glossy colour magazine, your clear display case, and also your model. For a more in-depth look of what you receive with this series, have a look at our first video, issue 1 to 4, for a more in-depth look. But for now, let's go on with issue 13 to 16. Issue 13 is the VC Valiant in Alpine White. Issue 14 is the HG GTS Monaro in Indy Orange. Issue 15 is the first GT ever released in Australia, the XR in GT Gold. And finally, number 16 is the VK SS Group A in Formula Blue, which is the first of 4 Group A Commodores released in Australia. Looking at the moulds now, as we've previously said, they are quite consistent considering they're all coming from IXO models and of the same sort of quality. So unfortunately, yeah, the bases are still plastic, but at the end of the day, as we've said before, price obviously comes into it. What I'm a bit weirded about is the mud flaps here on the VK Group A. I haven't seen very many mud flaps on a VK Group A, so I think that's a little bit odd with that one. Also, some of the interiors and things aren't crash hot, but once again, it comes down to what you pay for. But overall, the molds, they do look really quite good. The VK looks lovely, so does the Valiant, so does the Monaro. Probably marginally a little bit disappointed with the XR in regards to its shape, but still overall definitely does look like an XR GT. History and significance with these cars, well, there's some really good examples here, particularly with 3 of them. So we'll start with the HG GDS. So only 400 of these were actually made as a GDS 350 with the big Chev motor in them. There was 16,000 HG Monaros built, but obviously not all of them are GDSs, and they come out with 186s and all the bits and pieces. So there's quite a lot there, but only 1 of 400, so quite a significant car. The XR GT, as I said previously, it was the first release of the GT Falcon in Australia. The majority of these cars were built in GT Gold, as this one is. Only a handful of cars, I think it's around 8, were actually made in different colours. So really the significance of this car were all GT Gold. So that's lovely, and the first release of the GT in Australia. The VK Group A, as I said, the first of the Group A's in Australia. Of the 4, very popular car. Probably Peter Brock always said VK was his best. And I quite like this one too, how it's come with the aero wheels. That was an option on this car with the white arrows. They normally just came with the standard chrome arrows. Quite a nice car, and very significant with only 400 of them being made. So they are very nice and worth an absolute fortune as a real car today. So a lovely little piece, being the first of the Group A Commodores. And also the only other model that's been made is by Bianchi. I actually do think Dinkum did make them, but him being hand-build quality wouldn't have been that good. Obviously the Bianchi model is a hell of a lot better than this model here from IXO, but you also got to turn around and say this is a $25 car now. When the Bianchi model came out, they would have retailed for about $100, and now probably $250, $300 plus upwards. So if you want a VK Group A, definitely the one to grab at $25. Looking at attention to detail, this is where the VC really kicks the other two. I love it. The way how it's got the vinyl roof, the Venetian in the back rear window, the white wheels, the lovely chrome hubcaps. And what about that bonnet emblem? They've even got that on it. This is probably one of the most high detailed models they've done. I did rate the VK BT1 because there was a lot of work involved in that with all the police lights and extra work aerials and all of those bits and pieces. That was a lot of work. Also, this VC is outstanding with what they've actually done, and it is very much high detailed and probably one of the best ones we've seen so far. The other three cars are still quite good also. I can't see any imperfection in paint in any of these four models. Once again, the decals are painted on. They look great. A little bit lost, as I said, with the mud flaps on the VK Group A, a little bit there. If you wanted to be really, really picky, the VK Group A is actually missing the speaker in the back rear quarter window because they were Berliner based. So it should have that, but they don't go that far. XR looks really, really good. But love the look on the HG as well. Nice, plenty of chrome, the nice full hubcaps there on those rims, nice and chrome and looking very, very good. But definitely in attention to detail, the VC Valiant wins this one by a long shot. Also, with attention to detail, we actually noticed on issue 10 of the magazine, it is also the same as issue 13 and issue 16. The black band on the bottom is actually bigger, which may be a problem if you're displaying your magazines or stacking them up neatly. Therefore, the black will be further up the spine. I just thought we'd mention an attention to detail. Probably not a biggie, but if you are displaying the magazines, it's probably one to look at. Summing up, as always, you've really got to look at value for money with these models. For $25, there isn't anything that comes anywhere near close. Even Trax now is retailing for around 150 or 160. Yes, they are a better model, but are they worth that much more? Like this is, you're really talking around about a sixth of the price. So it does go a very, very long way for your dollar at $25 a model. And when you're bringing attention like the VC here, I'm sure there's plenty of people out there that love their Valiants would really, really love this one. Also the VK Group A for 25 bucks is just crazy. How they do it, I have no idea. But that's the price, and unfortunately what we are now starting to see is that 143 market is now starting to plummet a little bit. I know times are tough, but it's also happened previously with the Shell series and the 143, which was sold through Coles and service stations. It really did a lot of damage to the 143 Formula One market. And I believe this is now what's going to happen with the 143 market, with people turning around saying, well, I'm not going to go and pay $150 for a Trax when I can pay $25 for an XO. Hope you enjoyed today's episode of Dave's Classic Collectibles and a good look at our fourth video, which is issue 13 to 16 of the Australian Cars, the collection. A couple of quite nice cars in this little set of four that we did for you today. Definitely VK Group A, lovely little car, and also the VC Valiant, not taking anything away from the other two cars, but they were also fantastic. If you like it, please send us a like down below. If you're subscribing to these magazines and cars, please let us know if you're happy with a subscription as well. Speaking of subscription, if you haven't subscribed to our channel, please do. That would be awesome. Until next time, happy collecting.